hanging ab exercises are probably one of the most challenging that you're going to come across. But there's different ways that you can modify them to make them easier or harder depending on your skill level. So this video, I'm going to show you a hanging knee raise, a hanging leg raise, and the isometric versions of both of those. They're all really kind of the same concept, but just with some slight tweaks to them to make them easier or harder. So we'll start with the easiest, we'll kind of work our way up. An isometric hold is always going to be a little bit easier than a moving exercise. So an iso, that is just where you are holding a position. If I was doing a dumbbell curl iso, I might come to here and just hold this position for a timed set. So the easiest variation of these is I'm going to grab my bar, find a grip position that is comfortable for you. This bar is a little bit low, and so it's going to look a little bit funny in my video. Just deal with it. I'm hanging. I'm not pulling myself up. My elbows aren't bent. But what I'm going to do is first tuck my ribs, just like always with my ab exercises, guys. I tuck the ribs and the hips. I get them in line. And then for a knee raise iso, bringing my knees up to my chest as high as I can, and just holding this position right here. If this gets too easy, you can squeeze a med ball or a dumbbell between your knees. It's not too easy for me. But that's your iso hold, right? So I can just feel that burning my abs like crazy. Now, that is the isometric version of the knee raise. Let's go into the moving one then. After that, the next variation is same thing. Tuck the ribs, bring the knees up. I might even try to roll back a little bit. Extend back down. Tuck, bring them up, extend back down. Your set's going to have a certain number of reps of that or a certain time depending on which variation you're doing. Again, that moving one's going to be a little bit harder, but that isometric one, still hard. But it allows you to keep in that same position because certain components of the movement are more challenging than others. So whenever you're able to lock in and just focus on one position, that makes it a little bit easier. So that being said, that was a knee raise iso and a moving knee raise. Now, the same thing applies to a straight leg one. Keep in mind, guys, this bar is a little bit low for how I would normally want to do this, where I would like to be off the ground with my toes whenever I'm holding my bar. I'm not. So bear with me on that. But I'm going to demonstrate a leg raise iso like I can do this comfortably. I cannot. Straight leg raise, this is whenever you guys are getting really, really strong, your abs are tough. We're going to do the same thing, roll the hips, bring my legs straight forward, holding that position. That is miserable. It's extremely challenging, but that's a progression of the movement. And then just the same thing applies to a moving one. Now, I'll go through the full demonstration here because I would consider just coming up to that straight out position a leg raise. But then there's another variation called toes to bar, where you're going to roll back and actually touch the pull-up bar with your feet. Could call it easier, could call it harder. It's easier because there's a little bit more movement into it, and so it's not all just directly tearing your abs off the bone. But that being said, it's a much greater range of motion, and so there is still a challenge to that. So leg raise, legs come up, back down, up, back down, toes to bar. See if I can not fall on my head here. Legs come up, all the way back down. When I do that, I'm doing a shoulder extension at the same time. So I'm not just trying to bring my legs all the way up, I'm pulling my arms toward my legs as well, which helps bring my body around to get my feet up there. I'm going to do another one because I love you guys. Legs come up, I pull at the shoulders, control it back down. You can see I'm a little bit out of shape for those too. Toes to bar, hanging leg raise iso, hanging knee raise, all of the above. That's how you do it.